So it does sound bonkers, but it does remind me that the user terms of Starlink, I believe, actually have a provision about how the terms are only applicable on the Earth. That, in fact, if the terms are transferred to Mars, as he said, they're going to have a very different set of ways to work out differences between people. And it's pretty clear he's looking at a different kind of government for Mars, which is one of the reasons he wants to go to Mars, right?
Yeah, they're looking for ways to escape this reality and create a new one, right? I think there would be a bunch of skulls on Mars. I don't think he'll ever get there. I don't think Musk is brave enough to even get on his own rockets. But they are definitely daydreaming about how to escape. I think part of the problem is they've got so much money and it's still not enough. They need something more than just the money. So they want the power. And this is a very old problem. When you have the money, you want the power. When you have the power, you want the money. When you have both, you want to live forever. And that's very much where many of them are as well, with this transhumanism idea, this idea of eternal life that some of them are starting to talk about. So, I think we're learning a big lesson about what happens when certain people have too much money. And I think that they have their eyes on eroding our democracy and weakening it and creating this alternative reality that won't work out. They haven't thought this through. As Professor Dave Karp says, this is a blueprint drawn in crayon. Where's the money going to come from when nobody has a job? How's the economy going to work? Why wouldn't your security guards kill you if there's nothing to stop them from being the kings, right? There's all these old problems that we know from history occur when you have an absence of democracy. And in fact, the only reason these guys can talk this way is because we do have a democracy, right? If you were saying this in Russia, right? If Elon Musk was doing what he's doing to Trump in Russia, his plane would fall from the sky tomorrow. So they're using our democracy in order to argue against it. And it's because, as Professor Brooke Harrington has said, they're basically like indoor cats who think they're the kings of the jungle, but they don't realize the degree to which all of these guys are dependent on government contracts. Right? Most of them have become wealthy from government subsidy. And now they want to take all that, pretend that they created it, and escape from democracy. And it's a real problem we have to confront.
Well, there is that fact that they seem to think that they're better than everybody else. And that is, absolutely the roots of fascism as well. The idea that some people are better than others and have the right to rule. And it's astonishing to me, both that they didn't seem to study the robber barons in the late 19th century, but also that they didn't know the story of Icarus, who flew too close to the sun, and wanting to become a god is not a good thing, right?